It's nice to see you again. I was out of town and visiting old people and came up with an interesting conversations that I wanted to tell Allie about and see what she thinks about this. So, I asked older generations what they remembered about their parents' personalities because I didn't feel like I'd heard a lot about that as a kid.
Yeah.
And so my grandmother passed away when, like her son was 19 years old. So he lost his mom young. He was the oldest of a bunch of siblings, right? So it's like I got to talk to him and to the youngest sibling about their mom's personality because I had never heard anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was funny because at first they kind of struggled to come up with anything because parents and kids didn't really talk. They were not friends, definitely. And they were just busy and they were working and they just were like surviving every day. And this would have been in the 70s, 60s? No.
I don't know.
Way earlier than that. Let's see. 60s, probably. So it took a bit, got some tears out of Grandpa.
Whoa.
But talking about his mom after all those years and saying, well, she was strong, she was quiet. And I was like, what did she like to do? And he's like, I was like, does she like a certain kind of music? Did she like this? Like, and he's just like looking at me like she had no hobbies. And he said, no, she was just really good at baking. So outside of just doing house and laundry and the stuff, she would bake. So apparently she made amazing stolen bread and coffee cakes. And then when I spoke to his youngest sister, she said she used to remember having to go out on the weekends and sell the baked goods to the neighbors.
Oh.
Like for extra cash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, they probably were selling like a whole coffee
So
cake for like 50 cents.
Was she like a stay-at-home mom then? I guess during that time that makes sense because like what women couldn't work or
yeah, I don't
or they didn't
remember hearing about her working. And so my grandpa was a actually I don't know what his job title was.
Awkward.
This is who we're talking about right here in this picture. No. So
look like you're having
my
a seance with
grandpa was a World War II POW and like they grew up relatively poor. A lot of the family was in farming in the Midwest. And so he came back and he worked for Concordia Publishing House. But it did not make very much money. And so they had 4 kids.
Concordian Publishing House? Like a publisher for books? Okay, that's what I thought. But
yeah, so they just were raising their kids until, she would have been probably 40-ish when my dad was 19. So she had got leukemia. She didn't make it, right? So he stayed single his entire rest of his life and just raised his kids and took it really seriously.
That's good.
He was, interesting as I talking to everybody, different people about like what we all remember. When you think about what you remember about your grandparents, right? Yeah. You know your grandparents a certain way. You didn't know your grandparents when they were young or when they were parents or first-time parents, which was like, but on a totally different thing. Like my dad was like, oh my gosh, grandpa was a disciplinarian, this and that. But he's like, but my mom would discipline me. Like not like, oh, wait till your dad gets home. It was like, no. Okay. I just was like, gosh, it was so weird to me to think that they don't know anything about their mom's personality.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even like any parent not knowing.
They were like, huh? And so the youngest sister she was only 13 when grandma died. And so she was like, I don't feel like I even barely remember my mom. And I don't know anything about her. Just because obviously when you're that age, you don't think to ask your mom questions about her childhood or her favorite things or what was your favorite color or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Where, the amount you and I have talked to each other recording is probably more than any of the grandparents have talked to their parents like in their entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we have to remember this when it comes to our expectations on older generations for how they show up for us in their lives. Because all these people like to make a lot of really mean, snooty comments about, the grandparents that, are low effort and don't help, blah, blah. And I know there's different kinds of grandparents. And there's some that don't have an excuse for their behavior, but it's a different time. Like, it was a different thing.
Well, I also do think, though, like, it's not everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I've been around enough other people's families and their grandparents. It was almost like they never wanted to stop being parents. So they were great, amazing grandparents to their, kids. And they were involved and they were there. And, like, I can't tell you how many of them were like, oh, yeah, my grandpa's coming to my game later. Like, it's a normal thing. He comes to every single one.
Yeah,
so,
there's definitely different kinds of families.
And I think that, I get sad because I never had that. Okay. I don't feel like any of my grandparents really cared about spending time or getting to know me.
Or just didn't make the effort.
No effort.
Like, within their life to stop what they were doing to come in.
But they only had effort for others. So, like, their favorite child's children, not me.
Yeah.
That's from both sides.
That's definitely true. Oh, that was the other funny thing that came up with my uncle, who's the second brother, was there too. I talked to him and he said, oh, well, my dad told me he was the favorite. And I'm sorry. My uncle said, oh, yeah, I was the favorite. And I go, oh, I know that's like to not be the favorite. We had a little laugh about it, but it's like, oh, just the time being so different. And like, what's really neat is I had probably interesting feedback from my aunt. And she said, we grew up really poor. Mm-hmm. They didn't have like even any of their own bedrooms, like 4 kids. So girls essentially had a bed that folded out in the side of the dining room. And then there was a little tiny bedroom on the back of the house outside of the one bedroom the parents were in. And the boys had to share that room. I don't know if they were in the same bed or like a bunk bed was in there or what. Like, I have to ask. But yeah, apparently they were always fighting in there and then the bed would break. And they would get in trouble. But so she said, here's what we would do. Here's how we play. Like, we were in a duplex, and the other half of the duplex was like all of our cousins. Like, so the family owned this house. Yeah. And they grew up with all their cousins, so they were really close because they lived literally at the same property. Right. But she's like, I never knew that I was poor. She goes, we didn't watch TV. We would just like play until it got dark. There was always just playing. They just have to make stuff up, make up games, and have stuff and toys. And
I feel like most people, though, who grew up like less fortunate, like those are the people whose families usually are the closest. Like, they actually focus on those bonds. They do focus more on
who grew up more poor that had a lot of abuse and they don't speak to their families at all.
But if you have good family, but yet you're still poor, I think, like, I've seen it. Like, I've seen those families that have nothing, but they're still like the closest.
Well, don't you think it's odd? Like, I remember you and I used to talk with, like, we would just sit and talk at this dinner table, in the evenings when she was in high school. And I remember her dad just sitting there in silence, just observing us. And he would go, this is like nothing I've ever seen before. He goes, my family never sat and talked. Like, we've never even literally never had this. His mother didn't talk to his sisters. He didn't talk with his dad. It was just very superficial. Yeah. They had low EQ, but it was what you and I do. Talking is apparently really not the norm for a lot of people.
Well, I also don't think everyone has the talking bug.
The bug?
Like, the ability to actually have long conversations, because I can't tell you how many times, like, Brandon or my boyfriend has been like, how do you still have stuff to talk about with your mom? So I'm like, oh, I went over to my mom's and we talked for like 3 hours. And he's like, about what? Like, you see each other all the time.
My boyfriend said the same thing. I don't know how you guys still have anything left to talk about. It just keeps going. I'm like, I know. It's just like a wealth of information. And
well, it's not like we're only talking about our personal lives. Like,
but do you see the difference of what someone's capable with when it comes to conversation? Like, we discuss topics where I'm not like, okay, I'm going to go get a new tire, or I'm going to go cook this for dinner. Like, there's just so much more than what we're actually.
We also have so much life going on top of it, and we hear different things, and we discuss things that we hear, like,
world stuff
that's going on, or, oh, hey, I just saw so and so did this. And then it, like, I don't know. We're just good at flowing into multiple conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it does segue into a lot of different things. I mean, like this type of recording, staying on topic sometimes is even difficult for us because we're like, oh my gosh, let's add this.
I have something to tell you.
But I just thought it was really surprising. Like, I don't know that I ever really realized how little that our grandparents or my parents, like if I'm from my generation, our parents didn't really know their parents.
I think it's going to change, especially in the next like 20 plus years, as like technology is so readily available that like I can look you up, let's say on Facebook, and I can go and look at all of your stuff and like you can get a vibe for somebody kind of off of their like social media, or if there's videos, like it's kind of weird to think about how like if I wanted to go look up my great 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 grandma, I'd really have to know who she is and see if there's anything, but probably what I would all find is like a birth certificate and a death certificate and where she's buried. Maybe if I'm lucky.
Well, and that's why like people, are I guess just a little bit older than me started doing a lot of genealogy because they didn't have any of that saved or written down, and they didn't have the word of mouth from their grandparents and parents of what all they were like, oh, my grandma's parents came from Germany. Like all they knew. They didn't know what town they lived in.
Yeah.
So I mean, they can do a little research, and they were so excited to get some of that information.
But now it's like any generation going forward, I feel like we have
better record keeping.
Like, think about this. Your great great grandchild with technology could look you up on Facebook and find your old Facebook and literally just go, oh, this is my great 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 grandma, and like literally look at all the videos and photos and know exactly what you look like. Because I feel like when I look at black and white old photos from like my great grandparents, I'm like, you don't even know, they don't even look like real people compared to like now with our like cameras. Like I just feel like you don't get a good sense of like
there's no sense
what
of
they look like, personality.
They're very, they look like they're corpses in some of the old photos.
Well, like
so weird.
I don't know. It's just crazy with all of this information and like, kids being able to see videos of their parents before they ever had kids. Cause like, I don't know what you were like before you ever had, a camcorder. Like I only know who you are from today, and then seeing old videos of what you were like when you were 24, 26, which is crazy to me, by the way, to see those videos. And I'm like,
of me?
When I was what, 3 or 4, or when Blake was born and you had the camcorder?
Yeah.
It is so strange, like seeing you as a 27-year-old person.
Do I look younger? Do I look just different? What do I look like?
It's just like so, like definitely you look like you're younger, your 20s. But it's just weird because like processing that, like I never really like, I don't know, when you're a little kid, those aren't things that your brain remembers, because you're just still, you get a lot of other growing to do.
I think when you're growing up, you don't notice your parents aging until you like high school. Like that's the age where I feel like I had more of an awareness of like my parents looking older. And then every 10 years I'd be like, whoa, okay, whoa. Or I could see them changing, and then they moved away and we didn't see them as often. So sometimes when you see them, it was more shocking to be like, oh, I do feel like they look a little more frail or a little different. Like now they're in their 80s. Like, well, that's like definitely
what I feel like a lot of kids, or not kids, people like my age or a little younger will say is like, if you see old videos from like the 80s or 90s, like when we had some form of video, you're like, these are high schoolers, like they look old. And then you see like it's so weird because if I were to compare like high school kids to then, I think people looked way older than they do today.
There was something different about I look at a
people just
photo and I'm like, oh, baby faced person. I think part of it is just like the haircuts make it kind of deceiving. Like I'm like, why does this girl in high school have this total grandma haircut.
But I don't think it's the haircut. It's like your face looks like what I would imagine a 30-year-old today looks like. But they were in high school looking like they were 30 in these videos.
Maybe times were hard. Maybe they weren't
times were hard. Sunscreen, baby oil.
Sure. They were yeah.
I think it's strange.
Getting the vitamins. Why do you look so old? I was trying to think what year this picture was taken, and I don't know. I'm gonna open the frame while we talk. So I'm looking at a wedding photo of my grandparents, the one that passed away that I never met. Well, I mean, if she had a 19-year-old son, I'm assuming. Let's see.
She had to be at least like 18, 19?
I'm not sure. But yeah, like when I look at this picture of her, look at that. That's not that 20-year-old girl. Like she looks like she's 40.
Well, that's how I feel when I see grandma's
probably 20.
Well, that's like, okay, this is great grandma and great grandpa. And I'm like, no, they definitely look like 35, almost 40. But then when I've looked at grandma's old photo of their wedding photo, I also think they look like they're at least 30 getting married. But I don't know.
I wonder if it's partly the terrible photography.
Maybe.
Shadowy.
But even like the videos, like I was saying, it made people look so much older than they were. And I don't feel like I also just compare myself to like you at 25 versus like me, right? And half the time when I like now I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have had a 1-year-old by now if I were you.
And which had already been married for 5 years.
Which is, I feel like a child. Like I know that I can take care of myself, but I'm just a baby. Like
why?
Even now, if I have friends who are having kids, I'm like, you're literally a high school pregnancy. What are you talking about? Like, we were getting married, and I'm like,
it's a funny time. Like, I love that women are making a big fuss about feeling empowered or wanting to have their careers or not decide when and if they want to have kids. Like, it's just not the pressure that it used to be that like that was the only way is you go find a guy and get married and have a job and then you're cooking and cleaning toilets. Like, awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, not like my life was really like that, but I didn't grow up or I didn't marry someone in like that level of low economic status, so to speak. So I was able to have a maid and a little bit different life so I really spent all my time with
privilege is showing.
No, but I mean, not that I didn't ever do that stuff.
But, yeah,
but I could afford it. But also, like, I really got to spend so much time with my kids.
I could see how that, though, just even like having a maid would be so. Half the time, that is my joke. Where I'll joke to my boyfriend. I'm like, if we get a house, we're getting a maid. I don't want to do this anymore.
It's really not that expensive to have someone come even like twice a month to deep clean your house and hit certain things, like get all your bathrooms clean at the same time. And you could say, hey, throw in my sheets and I'll finish it out. Like, because they're not always at your house that long.
I really took advantage. Like, I wish sometimes that I still lived at home now as just a child. So I'm like, dude, the amount of things my mom was doing that I didn't know about, like doing all the dishes, cooking every day, and like
the tasks,
all the everyday tasks. And I can only imagine the amount of laundry you were doing, because the amount of laundry I do for one person or two people, oh my gosh.
Laundry for 4 people plus towels, 3 beds.
Then if you have a dog, you've got other stuff you gotta clean. Oh my gosh.
And then I was pulling all the weeds. I liked having a nice yard. So I mean, I wouldn't call it gardening, so to speak, but I did pull my weeds and mow the lawn and stuff because I wanted it done on my schedule.
Yeah.
And I was really detail oriented, where sometimes if I asked someone else to do it, it was not detail oriented, and that was not what I wanted. Yeah. Right? Or eventually, when I had larger yards, I had people I could hire to mow the lawn, because it was less expensive to have them haul away than me to put it out, because the trash company was charging us so much for all that grass.
I feel like that makes sense.
But I was like, the last house we had, I paid $35 a week for a guy to come mow our big backyard and haul away the grass, because that neighborhood wouldn't pay for the extra grass. And I was like, whatever, but we were like, you know what? We don't have to do it anymore. We were making good money. We could afford it. I have horrible allergies. So for me, mowing really screwed up my sinuses. I made my eyes itchy. I liked having that. And I mean, I kind of came and went having a couple different maids over the years, but it's like there were still times where I didn't have someone where
Well,
I
yeah,
fired
I
them,
just think if you have it, it's like,
still did everything.
I mean,
But
I
it
can only
totally
imagine
takes
like
a
the
load off.
toll. Like we talk about the mental load that women face
Yeah.
because they put themselves in these, and I'm not saying it's always putting themselves in these scenarios, but the mental toll that women, or the mental load women take on, and it's silent, but it's like, I've done all of these things all day. I've cleaned, I've cooked, I've taken care of the kids. And then guys will come home and have weaponized incompetence. You ask them to get the laundry out of the dryer, and they just literally throw it into a ball.
Your dad did that to me. I asked him one time to start a load of laundry, and he purposely put the detergent in the fabric softener, so the clothes were still all soapy. And he's just like, I don't know. And I was like, just put it on the rinse mode and rinse it back out. And he's just like acting like, oh. And I was like, really? You can't look at the buttons? But you can work a remote control in a television. I think you can run this thing. But then I feel like he didn't want to get roped into doing it.
Well, that's a whole other
That's like when you were a baby or right before. I just remember having that. But I want to add something funny there from this conversation with the older generations about that.
Okay.
My aunt told me, she goes, well, we had this old crank style turn washing machine, no dryer.
Gross.
So they wring out all the clothes, then they have to go hang them up in the backyard to dry. So she's like, in the winter, we would have to hang them in the basement, and it would take forever for everything to dry.
That sounds horrible.
So now you know why people would like wear the same clothes.
Yeah.
Spot clean it. Maybe just washing their underwear and their socks or whatever, because they're like, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. No dishwasher. Everything's washed by hand.
Does this make you recognize why so many women had quote unquote hysteria? Because think about the mental load that women face today, and then add on, you can't just throw stuff into the washer or the dryer. You have to do everything
well, and then there's
by
still
hand.
Women in this country and in this world that are dealing with that still. There's no dryer. Just maybe no washing machine.
And then you've got a husband who's weaponizing incompetence, and then, if they're abusive or anything. Now you see
people have different mindsets, and there's still a lot of really happy couples that choose their roles, right? And they're fine with it. And that's fine. If you have someone who is a provider and you can take up the slack at home, I still think that's a totally valid way to live. But I'm
not saying it's bad.
But I mean, women can, I feel like the main thing is, like, I'm glad that you feel empowered, that you have a choice. I love the power of choice.
Like studies show that, like, the priorities of women and men, especially in their like 20s and 30s, and men's are usually number one is have kids. And then the rest is like, make enough money, get a wife. And though that's what follows after having kids.
Really?
Crazy. But then women's are top priorities of like job and everything else. And at the bottom of their priority list is like having kids now. And
it's not everyone.
No, but this is facts.
This is just something
a study
thinking.
that I saw, and then thinking about it, it's like a lot of these men have aspirations for doing these things with their life, whether that's a big job, following whatever makes them happy. But they're like, having kids, they're not thinking about like, I want to be a dad and I want to raise kids. It's, oh, but who's going to raise your kids? And they're like, oh, I didn't really think about that far. Like, I guess someone else will. I just want to procreate.
Huh.
But then women think of the big picture of like,
that's true.
But I do think it becomes a big thing on women. And I mean, it is a big thought, like having a kid. Even if you have a great partner, you might feel like, okay, a lot is going to fall into my lap of feeding the kid, taking care of them while I'm on maternity leave, figuring out where they're going to go for daycare. Or I do think, like, that's what I think about is,
well, I think a lot of men, when they're responsible and they're good dads and they're good husbands, they do think about some of that load, but I see different things, I don't think that your father would have ever known like the name of any of your teachers
or doctors,
because I just did everything. But he worked really long hours, and I kind of just took on that responsibility. But then it got really frustrating where I would say, well, here's the link to all the sports for this season. But then every single day he was like, text me where and when and blah, blah. And I was like, why do I have to do that? You have the link. look it up yourself.
Well,
like
that's like
that was irritating. It's not that I couldn't do it,
Yeah.
but why do you not know how to look it up yourself?
well, that's like from the
Lazy.
beginning of my relationship. There was I've always oh, you have that info. Oh, you know how to find it. I'm not going to go find it for you when I've already sent it to you.
Yeah, and if you
I'm
don't
not your
show up
mom.
at
I'm
the
not going
game,
to do
then
it.
I guess that's on you. Like, it's not on me to make sure you show up on time
I'm
to
not
your
doing
child's basketball game.
And I'm not doing it out of like I hate you or I'm being mean. It's like, no, we're not getting to a point where I'm telling you when and where to be all the time. He made a comment one time that was like, "Oh, she's my calendar. She tells me just where and when I need to show up somewhere." And I was like,
Oh,
"No, I don't do that." And then when he asks me like, "What are we doing this weekend?" and I go, "We already talked about this." Or the calendar is right there. And he's like, "Oh, you're right." Like, I am not putting up with it from day one. And I think that's what a lot of women don't do is they will be like, "Oh, I'll put up with it. It's okay." And then now you
just start doing it, and then it becomes a problem to like relinquish some of that. You do have to go into it of you have the expectation upon this other person. If they're going to throw tantrums about being helpful, I mean, you have to like go through things when you're dating so that you realize that this is how plan a trip together, plan events. Like, don't suddenly buy all the presents for your boyfriend's mom for Christmas. Let him go figure it out. Just think it's your mom.
I think it's different if you guys are discussing, or like you might, have maybe an idea and you're just discussing ideas.
Yeah.
But like if he's like, "What should we get my mom for Christmas?" without like discussion of like, "Well, what do you think?" Oh, well, I have no idea.
Well, it's one thing of like, hey, I'm going to the mall and I need to grab something for your mom. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I did some of that, but it's like, I don't want it to be where I don't think you're capable of taking care of some of the things, and I realize now, I'm like, I have a partner that helps with stuff. Yeah, like can make 100% of the travel arrangements, have bookmarked restaurants and send me 3 and say which one of these sounds best to you. Look at the menus. That's so nice. I was the full 100% travel planner, trip planner for the family for whatever.
I mean, I enjoy doing
right?
it, but also like,
well, I know I still can, but it's nice when someone else, like I'm saying, I don't want him to have to always do everything.
Right.
But if he's like, hey, can you get a rental car? Hey, can you look at hotels? Deal. Great. I'd love to.
Yeah.
But he also has corporate stuff that he likes to book.
That's how
we've done it in his honors stuff. And
he books the flight, but then half the time he's like, "Oh, hey, can you just like book the hotel?" And I'm like, "Shoot, okay."
But it's like if someone works full time, and I'm fully aware he can come down and like I've seen him dust the house during a conference call because he's just got his AirPods in.
Yeah.
Or someone that every Friday does laundry or vacuums. Or I just mentioned, hey, oh gosh, we really need a mop in here. Next day I'll find him mopping. It's kind of if he wanted to, he would. Like, people are, if you're a competent human being, you help out knowing other people are busy, but no matter what side you're on, like, you want your partner to be happy and feel taken care of. So I do all the things that I know he needs help with that make him feel taken care of. I like to cook when I come home from the gym in the mornings and make him lunch so that when he's in the middle of a whole bunch of meetings, he has food that's like cooked, or I know we have leftovers. Like I make extra food at dinner time that are like, hey, I made more so you can have lunch tomorrow. Or
but I feel like
finding my ways to make his day easier, and he does the same thing for me.
That's what
I feel
the whole
like
thing is. I think a lot of women overtake the making everyone else's life easier, but no one is doing it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're making these lunches, or doing your laundry for you because, oh, I'm at home, it's fine, I'll do it. But then if he's not doing the same in some way to make your life easier, I don't think that's fair.
Well, and that's the thing.
It doesn't have to be even.
Men are struggling to figure out what that is. Like, they're like, what do I do? I worked all day, I'm exhausted, and I want to unwind. But it's like, how do I find a way to do something nice for my partner at the end of the day?
The other night, because I was studying for my final all day, like from 11 o'clock until it was 9 p.m. and took a break to like cook some dinner and eat, but I had left all the dishes in the sink, and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna go put my pajamas on, get ready for bed, and just kind of relax because my brain hurts. I was like, we'll worry about that another day. And then I went and did that, walked back out. He's like, already did all the dishes. He's making the coffee pot for the next morning, started a load of laundry, switched the laundry. He goes, oh, hey, sorry, I'm coming. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you were doing all that. I would have helped you. And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. You've been busy all day. Like, that's the least I could do. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then I was sitting there and I was like, oh, this is bare minimum.
It is. And I'm not bragging about my boyfriend. You're not bragging about your boyfriend.
No.
This is an example of what partnership looks like. I will spend an hour cooking dinner. He absolutely washes the dishes. Like, he's like, move, no. And he also knows I don't like washing the dishes because it messes up my nails.
I always get
He knows which tasks I don't like doing, so he totally does them for me.
I always get the comment of like, stop it, you're too pretty for that. Where I'll like try to overdo.
That's so sweet.
It was the cutest thing. He had sent me a video of some lady shoveling the driveway, and the husband comes out and he goes, stop it, you're too pretty for that. Get back inside. And she's like, but that needs to be shoveled. And he's like, I will do it. Get back in there and go warm up and look cute. I don't know. But now, ever since he sent that video,
I like
when I do stuff
sometimes, or I like going out,
cardio,
getting a little exercise, being in the fresh air and being in the snow. I actually kind of like it.
I think that if you wanted to, like, it would be different.
But I go like I'm helping, and he's like, "Ugh, why do you think I'm not doing a good enough job?"
But he's like,
"No, I just want to be outside."
Stop it. He's like, "You're trying to overpower everything," and he's like, "You're not letting me do what I want to do to help you."
Yeah.
He's like,
so if he doesn't like me helping shovel, I'm gonna go bake him cookies.
Okay, deal.
I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here bored.
But it made me laugh. Like, you've probably dated other people who don't take care of you in a way that they should.
Yeah.
We should be more even. Stop doing everything. And I'm like, oh,
it should be more balanced. And it's absolutely possible. People act like it's not possible. I mean, I'm sorry. I do understand that some people do have a rough workload.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm with here, we have two people who work, full time as examples. And it's like they're still coming home, taking us to the gym and taking us out to walk the dog. And, like, oh, what needs to be done? Oh, you know what? I'm going to mow tonight because it's going to rain tomorrow. Or I'm going to go do this. Like, I'm having that done. Like, things just get done.